Now this is one of the biggest pieces of ride-sharing news that has ever happened. And that is that Uber broke laws, duped police, and secretly lobbied governments, leak reveals. This was done by The Guardian. There have been a tremendous amount of sites covering this as well. If I go to CNN, for example, you can see thousands of leaked Uber documents show extreme steps company allegedly took to expand aggressively. Going back to The Guardian, more than 124,000 confidential documents leaked to The Guardian. These files expose attempts to lobby a tremendous amount of figures. In addition, the company used kill switch during raids to stop police seeing data. And just one other side note is that the former Uber CEO told executives, violence guarantees success. Now, I'm going to go to the CNN article. The main reason why is the CNN one is more of an overview. I highly suggest, if you're curious, reading the entire Guardian post, but there is a lot to unpack here on this video, as you can see. The CNN one is more of like an overview, but as it says here, it shows how during the most aggressive period of growth, the ride-hailing company, Uber, reportedly employed secret technology to thwart police investigations, sought favors from high-ranking government officials, and even perceived a silver lining in possible violent clashes between its driver and taxicab operators. Now here in 2016, they're talking about the anti-Uber demonstrations by taxi operators in Paris. I even remember in Boston, there was one time I got in a altercation with a taxi driver. Nothing happened. It wasn't anything that was extreme, but I remember in 2016 hearing about, a lot of taxi drivers attacking Uber and Lyft drivers. It was a big issue. And going along with that, Travis, the CEO and co-founder of Uber, said to have privately suggested that any violent backlash to the potential event of Uber and Lyft drivers being attacked, or in this case Uber drivers, would be quote-unquote worth it and would quote-unquote guarantee success for the company, according to these leaked documents. These leaked documents reportedly showed how Uber appeared to capitalize on attacks against its drivers, and more generally, citing them to secure meetings with politicians. You could make the argument they almost got excited and encouraged these attacks because they would happen, people would get hurt, their cars would be destroyed, whatever the case would be, and then they'd go to politicians saying, hey, you saw what happened? We need to do something about Uber. We need to make Uber stronger, grow it more, and a lot more. So in a sense, they almost were hoping these violent attacks would happen. You can make a legitimate argument that is the case. And then, of course, a spokesperson for Uber said something along the lines of, well, they never suggested that Uber should take advantage of violence at the expense of rider safety. They confirmed the statement to CNN, but declined to comment beyond it. I mean, let's be honest, they're just trying to save face. In addition, Uber also reportedly used a kill switch to prevent company data from falling in the hands of law enforcement during numerous police raids in various countries. They purposely blocked and used a kill switch to avoid any legal infractions or anything, and it was deployed in 6 countries, including France, the Netherlands, Belgium, India, Hungary, and Romania, severing connections between Uber's computers and its local offices from the company's main cloud network. That to me is such a red flag. And then they claim that this kill switch was never designed or implemented to obstruct justice. If you're purposely going out of your way doing all this stuff, for lack of a better word, to block people from finding these documents and everything, continuing along, Uber made a statement on its website right here in terms of the ICIJ investigation, talking about pretty much all this that we're summing up in this video. And they said that they distanced themselves from its mistakes prior to 2017, which the company acknowledged accumulated in one of the most infamous reckonings in the history of corporate America. We have not and will not make excuses for past behavior that is clearly not in line with our present values. But leaked documents show that despite Uber's attempts to move on from its past, the company may continue to be haunted by far into the future. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is pretty big that they've done this and a lot more. I highly suggest reading the Guardian article if you're curious. Again, on these videos, I like to be very, surface level explanation in terms of going over the highlights and what you should know about what's going on. But there's a lot more than that. A lot of other nitty-gritty things Uber is doing in terms of lobbying, in terms of hoping that violence happens so they can get better, political standing, so to speak, get more laws and regulations put in place that help them out, and a lot more. This is pretty big, and of course it affects numerous countries, not just here in America. Let me know what you think in the comments. Could this potentially affect ride sharing? Could this potentially be something that kind of opens up the floodgates again about trying to figure out, well, what should happen with Uber and Lyft? Prop 22 just happened here in California pretty recently, and rideshares, as a result, stay as independent contractors. Could this bring up that whole discussion again about independent contractors versus employees? Could Uber and Lyft be in this rocky position now because of what's going on? It's tough to say, but this is a massive leak that could have major consequences.